Today's the 10th of March and this is the Tibetan Uprising Day, 54th anniversary. As I speak, thousands of Tibetans are in Brussels demanding action for Tibet. And that's very positive because for decades Tibetans have been asking for help, asking for support. And they got the support of the people, but they never really got the support of any Western governments. And it's a very positive development that Tibetans are beginning to demand something of Western governments, of this so-called free world. So for me as a non-Tibetan supporter of an independent Tibet, the tragic thing is that I have to come to a concentration camp here, near where I live in Germany. This is Dachau, the very first concentration camp the Nazis built, opened in 1933 on the 22nd of March, which means in a couple of weeks it's going to be 80 years that this place has existed. And it's a symbol of terror, Nazi terror. And members of my own family from Scotland and Ireland, they died during that war, or as a result of the war, of the free world against the Nazis. And it's tragic that members of my family and my people, our nation, sacrificed so much and went through so much pain and suffering to save the world and free the world of the Nazi regime. And now we have our governments elected by us, politicians elected by us, who are working together with a new Nazi regime, and that's the one of the Communist Party of China. They are doing exactly the same thing. So to feel close to the people of Tibet, I come to a concentration camp. And that's really, really sad, because Tibet is one giant concentration camp, as is China itself. The Communist Party doesn't allow any freedom of speech, of religion, of movement. They control everything. And our politicians, elected by us, they know exactly what's going on in Tibet and in China. But still, they meet them, they cut their deals. So it's really, really tragic that a place like this, the very first concentration camp, the model for all the rest, that there's a monument in each one of these places, which are now museums, tragic museums. And people, thousands of people come here. We just met a couple of Chinese people from mainland China and had a little discussion with them. But people come here and they think this is a thing of the past, but it's not. It seems as if Western governments and Western corporations they're outsourcing everything else, that they have outsourced pain and suffering, outsourced brutality. We have a nice life here in the West, but it's at the cost of people in other countries. And one of them, the main one, is China. All the stuff made in China. Maybe not the whole thing, but certain elements, certain parts of these appliances are made in concentration camps. That's a proven fact. And nobody can deny that. And definitely not our politicians. So as we can see here, this promise of never again has been broken, and it says a lot about the West. I mean, the story of the West is a story of broken promises. And that's also a connection you can make with China, because China also promised, gave us the Olympics in 2008, and we'll improve our human rights situation. It didn't happen, and it won't happen. So for the last couple of years I kept coming back here. I brought some of my friends here, people who have really spent years in Dachau prison, and they saw the similarities, and we can't just keep going on repeating, doing the things we've been doing. That counts for me too. You know, I'm tired of coming here, tired of talking about the similarities between the Nazis and the Chinese, because the people who are in power in our countries, they know it anyway, and that's where we have to go. And that's why Tibetans all over the world today are facing the leaders of the countries that they live in and demanding support for Tibet, some real support, not empty promises. That's where we have to go, and that's what the 10th of March is about here outside Tibet. This is the proof of the empty, broken promise. Never again. Actually, these countries, France, Great Britain, United States, Germany and Russia, they should take this sign down, because the promise has been broken. They can put it back up when they stop making deals with China and accepting the fact that China in Tibet is just one big concentration camp used by Western governments and corporations. And that is the truth. So accept the truth, take this sign down and put it back up when you've finished doing your deals with regimes like the Chinese one.